All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into a really provocative idea from our source material. What if? What if autoimmune conditions aren't really a bug in your immune system, but actually a problem of energy? I mean, just think about the name itself, right? Autoimmune. It sounds like your body is literally at war with itself. But is that what's actually going on? The source material we're diving into today, it completely challenges that fundamental idea, and we're going to break down exactly how. Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page and just quickly run through the official story. You know, the one you've probably heard from your doctor or, let's be real, seen in a million TV commercials. So the core idea here is that your immune system has just gone haywire. It's lost its way. The source actually describes this mainstream view as the immune system becoming, and I'm quoting here, demented. Basically, it can't tell the difference between you and a foreign invader anymore. And this so-called attack is what's blamed for the symptoms in all these well-known conditions. But here's the kicker with the mainstream view, and this is super important. While they describe what's happening, they don't really know why. The ultimate root cause for this supposed malfunction? Officially, it's a mystery. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. This alternative perspective starts poking some serious holes in that official story. It does this by asking some major questions that the mainstream theory just, well, it really struggles to answer. So, the first big clue we're presented with is this really dramatic gender gap. Check this out. According to the data in our source, for every single man diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, you'll find about 4 women, a 4-to-1 ratio. That's huge. And that massive difference brings up a really powerful question. I mean, if these conditions are just some kind of random glitch in the system, why would they follow such a clear hormonal pattern? It strongly suggests that hormones are playing a central role here, right? And that's something the standard model doesn't really have a good answer for. And this leads us to what is a huge paradox at the center of it all. The theory says the immune system is overactive, it's an overdrive. But at the same time, these conditions often show up alongside states of immunodeficiency. Think of patients with HIV, for example. So, wait a minute. How can the immune system be both overactive and underactive at the exact same time? It just doesn't quite add up. All right, so let's shift gears and look at the alternative theory that the source presents. This one, it shifts the focus entirely. It proposes that the problem isn't a broken immune system, but a broken environment that the immune system is trying to work in. So according to this bioenergetic model, here's how the cascade starts. It begins with some kind of stressor. This then triggers a rise in what are called catabolic hormones. Think of them as breakdown hormones, like cortisol and estrogen. And here's the key. These hormones are what cause the cellular damage first. They create all this debris before the immune system even gets involved. So, if stress hormones are the ones causing the initial damage, then what's the immune system doing in this story? Well, this is where the entire narrative just gets completely flipped on its head. See, like we said, the mainstream view pretty much casts the immune system as the bad guy, right? It's the villain of the story, the unprovoked attacker. But this other view, it reframes the whole thing completely. In this version of the story, the immune system isn't the attacker at all. It's the first responder. It's the cleanup crew. And this is such a crucial point. In this model, all that inflammation, all those antibodies that we see, they aren't the cause of the disease. They are a totally logical, protective, and even necessary response to clear away tissue that is already dying. Your immune system is it's doing its job. It's trying to prevent a much bigger disaster, like sepsis, from happening. Okay, so when you have this fundamental shift in understanding, going from seeing the immune system as an attacker to seeing it as a cleanup crew, well, that logically leads you to a completely different strategy for how to deal with these conditions. And you can see the two paths laid out so clearly here. The mainstream approach basically says, hey, the immune system is the problem, so let's just shut it down with powerful drugs. But the bioenergetic approach says, wait, no, the tissue breakdown is the problem. So let's stop that breakdown from happening in the first place. It's like one strategy is just silencing the fire alarm, while the other is actually trying to put out the fire. And this brings us to a pretty stark point that the source makes about the risks of just suppressing the system. You know those powerful drugs you see advertised on TV? Well, if you look at the side effects, they often list things like blood cancers, lymphoma. From this bioenergetic perspective, that's not a surprise. It's a logical consequence of shutting down your body's natural surveillance and cleanup system.
So instead of suppression, this alternative strategy is all about restoration. The goal is to create an internal environment where your cells are just more resilient, where they have enough energy to resist breaking down from stress in the first place. And if you can do that, you basically remove the reason for that big immune cleanup.
And that's really where this whole perspective leaves us. It's with one final and I think pretty powerful question. What if the key isn't to fight the body, but to fuel it? Maybe the most effective path forward isn't some kind of battle against our own biology, but instead it's about giving our bodies the fundamental energy they need to just thrive.